Alright, how's everybody doing out there in YouTube land here? This is my 78 Ford F150. Of course, we got another late video here. Kind of late at night, but hopefully y'all can kind of see it. I've spent, probably about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours cleaning this thing up from all the smoke damage on it. And of course, it's dark now, but I've been working on this thing for a very long time. But hopefully y'all can kind of see a little bit. But I'm trying to clean it up and get all the smoke damage off of it. I don't think it hurt her glass there. Somebody had tinted these windows at one time. It's just the way it looks. I don't know if it's... Yeah, that's what they did. Yeah, you can feel it. The way they... Oh, okay, I see what that is. Somebody's done peeled that off. Yep. See, they peeled a little section off there. That's why it looks like it. That's crazy. But anyway, I've been cleaning and cleaning and cleaning on this thing. Trying to... Yeah, I don't think it hurt the glass there. No. It's just fogged up from washing it. But I've been cleaning and cleaning and cleaning on this thing. Trying to get all this smoke damage off of it. And I think I got it cleaned up for the most part. So... Clean my wheels up as good as I can get them. Cleaned up the doors because this side was kind of bad. This is the side that the fender melted on. I ended up having to pull it off, and I might have to get a replacement later on for it, but it ain't too bad. So hopefully it'll be alright. Still got to clean up underneath the hood a little bit. I ain't quite cleaned that up. Then I'll have to re-detail this motor back up. I'm going to have to paint it all back up. The intake survived, but you know, the heads and the valve covers, I'm probably going to end up pulling these valve covers off, and because this PCV that trying to get set up, that breather I got to fit in this valve cover ain't fitting right. So I'm gonna get valve covers that got the Ford logo like these do here. It's hard to see it, but it's there. I'm gonna get valve covers for it that look really close to that, but they got the proper hole in the back for the PCV, and then get that straightened out, and then I'm gonna paint this motor back up and detail it back up. But I went through and replaced a lot of wires on it. I still got a lot yet. I got to replace the neutral safety switch on it, and then I got to put a brake distribution block on it, and then I got to replace the wires that go to the brake distribution block, because our brake, that's why our brake light's on right now, because it fried the wires. They got burnt up. So we're getting there. We got to replace this neutral safety switch here yet, and then it didn't really get, the fire didn't get down there. It just, it got up to where the firewall is. So not sure if it hurt it or not, but I've been replacing about everything else on this truck, so I'm gonna get that replaced. I did get our fuel gauge hooked up, thank goodness. So now we got our temperature gauge working now, and we got our fuel gauge working now. So we'll hook our battery up here, and still kind of unhooking it right now, because you know, until I get all this wiring straightened out on this thing, I don't like leaving it hooked up. I mean, I've been driving up down the road. It ain't really hurt nothing, but you know, you never know. But anyway, we'll turn our key on here. That light to come on. Got our alternator, our brake, and our fasten belt. So watch our fuel gauge there. Yep, see, it's coming back up. We'll turn our key off here. Our fuel gauge should go down. There we go, a little better view of it. Our key is off right now. It's in the off position. Now it's going back down. I just got a half tank of gas in it, and then we'll turn our key back on. Yep. It's going back up. Now I got a little bit more than half, but yeah, almost 3/4. These old floater gauges, they ain't much different than the Chevrolets, the Dodges, you know, all these vehicles back then had the floater gauges, so you got to be like perfectly still, and the truck's got to be perfectly level. It's actually kind of leaning just a little bit sideways the way this ground is out here, so you might be reading a tiny bit off, but it's pretty close. That's the only way you can actually see how much gas is really in it. But we got our fuel gauge working now, so that's good. Now I got to figure out our front tank, because I'm going to restore these dual tanks back on this truck. I replaced this rear one here, so it's got a brand new rear tank on it. It's got a brand new sending unit. It's got I got to get the gas cap that's on here. It looks like it's vented, but I was trying to have one that had the handle on it so it's easier to get out. But I got all this straightened out. I'm not sure if I showed that, but I had to go to the junkyard and get this door, because the other one they had rigged up, and so I had got this door now for it. And I had to get these two rubber grommets that go in here. So I got that straightened out. I got it lined up pretty good. Ain't perfect, but it'll work. I can tweak that a little bit more. I guess we got our filler neck. This one still got the filler neck in it. So it had the side tank on it still, but somebody had put JB weld on it, and it just, you know, they had cut it. They cut these darn hoses up here, and then they had JB weld on the top of the tank, and where the straps rubbed a hole in it, and I went ahead and pulled it off. I'm gonna replace it. This fuel filler neck here. Sorry, I can't talk here. This filler neck here is in good shape, so I'm gonna clean it up real good, and then we'll pull it off, and we'll get our hoses, and then we'll get a new tank, and we'll put that on here. And then I gotta figure out something about how to hook our fuel gauge up. I'm not sure how that's gonna work to get our fuel gauge to work off both tanks, or well, just one at a time, really. But I think by just getting a regular old brass T-fitting and then just blowing them in, just pull the line off this one, pull the line off the other tank, and run it just straight to that main fuel line. Just put a T in it, because I know Ford has those valves, those distribution block valves, whatever you want to call them, but I just don't feel like getting all that crap. I'm just trying to simplify it. Just throw a T in it, and then I guess I could put a valve under here. I don't know, I'll figure something out. I gotta figure that out yet, how to plumb that in. Make it more complicated it's really gotta be, though. And I gotta figure out how to wire it up, because that's their wire that's gonna go on their front fuel tank here. It's the same plug as our rear back here, but got a brand new tank on it, brand new sending unit. I cleaned the straps up, went to the junkyard, I got them straps, cleaned them up, paint them, put them on, paint the tank, got that on, and so it's got original straps on it and everything, and everything fits so much better. I even used the original bolts too. Clean everything up really good. Threw a new fuel line on it, put a fuel filter on. Probably needs to be changed, but you know, it is what it is. I got the brakes redone. These drums have been turned on the back. I replaced our brake line back here. That's been replaced. Rear end, I pulled the center out of it. I checked our gears. Our gears look beautiful in it. I think I counted, I had 307 gears in it. So it's like really high. It's a 28 spline too, which is weird. And we have a 1330 and a 1310 U-joint. 1330 is the dry shaft, and the 1310 is this U-joint for this center. So I'm not sure if they pulled that rear end out of a car or what they did, but anyway, that's what we've gotten done so far. Got all new parking cables on it. Still got to replace our intermediate cable where it goes up to our pedal. It's still in good shape. There ain't nothing really wrong with it, and so it's in really good shape. It's not split or nothing crazy like that. It's in really good shape. I got to adjust it pretty good. So we got all that installed. So a lot of the 90s Fords had problems with these rubbing. These the shocks would rub these parking cables here, and they rub it, and then they will eventually come through, and then they, you know, come apart on you. But these on this style truck are, at least they're away from it. The ones on the 80s and 90s are like behind it, so they rub into the shop. But I don't know. But there's the original color for it. It's red and silver. There it is, silver and red. It's a really cool looking truck. I want to paint it back all original. That's the original factory color too. There's the, where I cleaned it up too. But that's where we're at here. So we got our fuel gauge working. Temperature gauge works. So all our gauges are working now. Our speedometer works. Our miles are working. So all our gauges are working. Now the only thing I got left now is I got to come down here and we got to replace our fuse for our turn signals here. There it is. Right here. It's a 15 amp fuse right here. This is for our turn signals. So I have to replace this one fuse, and I blowed it because I shorted it out. That's why it blowed. I did that by accident. So I'm going to replace this fuse, and then I'm going to go ahead and put new flashers in it. So I had to figure out, oh, here's one. So I'm going to replace these flashers too. Should be another one, because you got one that's for the turn signals, and then you have another one that is for the flashers, your 4-ways. So I had to find that. There's the old buzzer. 8-cylinder, 76. Huh. Somebody used to change that seatbelt buzzer out. 8-cylinder, that's kind of cool. But anyway, that's where we're at. So, hopefully, won't be too long, and we'll be able to get this thing on the road. I ain't decided yet whether I'm going to put antique tags on it, or if I'm just going to take and leave the regular tags on it, because this truck ain't going to take too long to get this thing to pass inspection. I cleaned their wheels up. I made a video on them. I had about 2 hours in polishing those wheels and polishing those centers. It was about 2 hours worth of polishing on them things. And now, here we are about 2-3 years later, and then now they're going to need polished again, don't it? This one's really kind of bad. Just needs polished. It's dirty. Yeah, it just needs a little polishing, that's all. Maybe I clean up underneath this hood a little bit. It's still got all that smoke damage and everything up under here. And all that will come off. See? So, just gotta get all that cleaned up now. And then I'm gonna go come back and re-detail this motor. But that's where we're at. Went ahead, I got all new plugs in it now. So everything on our ignition system, except for our plug wires, has been replaced. I still got to, I'm going to actually order the correct plug wires for it. I just had these laying around. I threw them in it just to, you know, so I can run it and take it up down the road, because the other ones that were on it were burnt up. Because the fire was on this side and that side. But I had to go through and put new fuel lines on it. So I'm going to go to the junkyard, and this wire harness I'm going to take in where everything unplugs. I'm just going to unplug it and then just go to the junkyard, and then I'll just make sure everything's color coded and matches up. And then I'll just unplug it from a truck that's never really been messed with, and then I'll just replace it like that. And I'll get a little electrical cleaner and kind of clean everything up, and hopefully that should do it. But that's my next project. I've been fixing these headlights. I did that. That ain't nothing from the fire. That's actually to do with, I couldn't figure out why this light down here wouldn't come on. And I think what it actually was is I think that pigtail's bad. It's got to be. So I'm going to look into that. It's either that light or it's the one over here, because the rest of them work. Another reason I got to replace that neutral safety switch is in order to start this motor, you got to turn the key on. Then you got to come out here and you got to get somebody to take and bump this thing over. I put a brand new solenoid on it. So I fixed her solenoid here. So now that's fixed now. So I got that fixed because before it was sticking, and had to put a brand new start on it because that was worn out anyway because the shaft had so much play in it. So I went ahead and put a brand new start on it as well. And I put a brand new solenoid on it. And once I replace our neutral safety switch, it'll start like normal. And plus we'll gain our reverse lights because we lost our reverse lights when we lost that neutral safety switch, because the neutral safety switch and the reverse lights are tied in together. But actually that wiring for that actually comes up to here. So I'll have to go to the junkyard and see where this unplugs underneath the dash and see if I can just unplug all this and just replace it. But the rest of the wiring is okay. It didn't really hurt it. Got this one wire for the alternator. I mean, it's not, it just burned the plastic with the rubber up a little bit, but nothing horrible. But all these wires, I'm just going to go through and just replace them little by little. But thank God, the main thing is nobody got hurt. That was the main thing, because it could have been really bad. But I've been going through and trying to clean everything up, and you know, I really the right thing to do, I really need to put another motor in this thing. That's what I really need to do, but I just, you know, money right now. I just don't have it. I'm trying to move down there to my land, and you know, it takes it. It really does. But no, just kind of tight right now. But I'm gonna get new valve covers. Get a little more extra money here soon. I'm gonna switch these valve covers out. That way I can hook our PCV up like it's supposed to be. Because this hole was too small. I mean, I could go in there and pull it off, and you know, because I had to repaint these valve covers anyway because they got screwed up in the fire. But I was going to take and go in there and drill that hole out, and where my breather will fit down in there like it's supposed to. But I was like, I'm just going to switch them out. Because the other reason too is not so much that, it's so I can get rid of this mess down here. I'm not sure if this is what this is exactly for, but this piece that's on this valve cover here, I'm not sure if it's something to do with the emissions, or if it's something to do with like retarding the timing, or both, or not quite sure on that. But I never hooked it back up, so I don't know if it's shouldn't hurt nothing. I mean, you really shouldn't need that anyway. I think it's emissions related. It might be something to do with the choke, I think. I bet that's what it's for, something to do with the choke. But I'm gonna eliminate that completely, just to give it that little cleaner look. And hopefully we'll be okay. Sad part about it is I got a brand new distributor in it. And I didn't really, got the wire just a little bit down there. Just a little bit. But nothing too serious. But it screwed this plug up a little bit. So, amazingly it still works. But I'm going to have to go through and replace that darn distributor again. And this wire in here. I was hoping it just got this wire and it goes back through the wire harness, but it got the distributor plug too, darn it. So, yeah, maybe not. It's more on this end on the wire harness, I don't know. So that's something else I'm going to have to look into. I tell you, the one thing I don't like on this distributor, even before all this stuff happened, is I just don't like these caps. I mean, look at that. That's how much I can move it. And that's the right adapter here. They call this the adapter because it's actually a two-piece distributor cap, if you want to call it that. But it's got this spacer here. It's got two clips that hold that spacer on there. And then you got this top cap right here. Well, the top cap's fine. It doesn't move. But this one down here, I don't know if it's because it's remanufactured or what, but I mean, that's how much you can move that thing. I don't like it. I mess with the timing a little bit. I'm not sure if that's a wrong spacer or what, but I'm gonna see if I can get something, because that thing, you know, you don't want that to move. That'll change the timing. Don't have to take a look at that. But I'm trying to keep this truck all original if I can. That's my goal. I want to keep it all original, and this truck's gonna be original. Now my white '89 Ford, now that one I'm gonna throw a regular HEI distributor in it, just run hot to it, and we can go on down the road. That way you can get rid of that brain box and all that crap. And I'm gonna run a GM alternator. I ain't gonna run a Ford one, but I'm running a GM 10SI internally regulated alternator. That way it deletes that voltage regulator there, and then plus it'll get rid of that brain box. Well, the '89 doesn't really have that brain box. It has that ignition module that's actually mounted on the distributor, but because that's tied into the computer and all that, and we're going to delete all that crap because we're going back old school on it. And something else I want to put out there for the '89 Ford is just a little update on that. I was going by the '78 Ford fuel tank, the rear gas tank, and put on that thing. Well, there's no point in doing that because I'm not sure if they're the same dimensions or not, and it still might bulk up. But instead of doing all that, I'm just going to order a regular old '89 Ford gas tank for it, the rear gas tank, and then I'm going to order the sending unit without the electric fuel pump on it. And then what I'm going to do is when I get the sending unit, because all I want to do is just run that fuel gauge. That's all it's going to be used for. Because we're going to run a carburetor and we're going to run the mechanical fuel pump, just like this truck has. Just like that. Well, all I'm going to do is I'm going to just take, like for brake lines and all that, I'm going to get that tool, and then I'm going to cut that fuel line on the sending unit, and then I'm just going to go buy them stocks, they call it. And I'm going to buy one of them socks for that sending unit and just slip that thing on there. And then just turn it into a regular old, old school sending unit. That's all you got to do, really. Just take that fuel pump and all that crap off of it. And just do it like that. And then all the wire and all that, just delete all that wiring, and because you only need that one wire. It's one wire that grounds to the frame, and then you got the actual other wire that goes to the sending unit itself. Because that's all we need to run anyway. It's just the gauge on the '89. So that's what I'm going to do on that. But anyway, that's where we're at. Hope y'all like these videos. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.